Hey there, here's a quick note before we begin. You can support the podcast by downloading, sharing, or checking with my favorite hiking gear at justhike.com. Let's hit the trail. Welcome, Brigitte. And am I pronouncing it properly? Is it Brigitte or
It's Bridgette Mongeon.
Brigitte?
Bridgette
You got to
Mongeon.
add in that French Brigitte. Very good. Thank you so much for being on the Just Hike podcast. I'm so excited for you to be here. I know you have lots of projects going on. You are the creator of the Houston Women's Hiking Group, and you are also a sculptor and an author. And I want to hear all about everything that you have going on. But the first question that I wanted to ask you was, what was your inspiration to create the Houston Women's Hiking Group?
There were two things that happened. One, the inspiration is totally selfish, is that I wanted to go in the woods. And I think that women at our age and even younger women, you get into this rut of being everything for everybody else or trying to find yourself and not having that opportunity. At my age, it was my kids were grown and I wanted to go into the woods. And if I waited for them, I'd be waiting a really long time. So it started with I would text my daughter and say, I'm going into the woods, the trail I talked to you before. It should be about an hour. I'm coming out. And my daughter would send me a text and she'd say, great, I got your GPS. I know where to send them to find the body. Be safe, Mom. I love you. And then one day she said, you should start a group. And I didn't know what that meant because I didn't know about Facebook groups at the time. It was a long time ago. So I did, and I just posted it to my neighborhood. Does anybody want to go for a walk in the woods? And I was surprised that there were so many women like myself who liked the woods and wanted to go for walks. That's how it started, and it was in I think 2016, 20, yeah, I think 2017. I don't remember now, but we are up to over 19,000 women today. So
That is
amazing.
so exciting.
It's just like it just freaks me out that you could grow and that there are that many women out there who want to do this. And one of the things I see is when we connect in not just, oh, hi, how are you? We connect in a more, I don't even know, like a tribal way, we are your people. And so many people have told me that over and over again. I found my people. And that makes me feel great because women are going out into the woods and they're finding camaraderie with other women. They're making their best friends. They are finding physical healing, emotional healing. They're gaining self-esteem. It's just amazing what has happened through Houston Women Hiking. And I'm so proud to have had a little part in it.
You had a big part. You created it. You started it, right? And it was like this flame that was ready to be ignited. When I first started with my journey to go to Kilimanjaro, I had this quest that I was going on and I was working on this project and I wanted to go to Kilimanjaro. I asked so many people, do you want to come to Kilimanjaro? And everybody said, no, are you crazy? I couldn't even find people to go for a hike, let alone to go on a mountain. And then, but now, like now through finding your group and finding other groups, it's just amazing how many people do want to go. And we are finding our tribe. And, you're a big part of that. So just thank you for creating it.
Oh, my
And,
pleasure. And you're
and
never short of somebody.
right,
No
you're
matter what
never
you want
short
to
of
do.
somebody.
No
That's
matter
right.
if you want to go on a hiking trip, if you want to go for a walk, if you want to go camping, no matter what you want to do, there's always someone that's willing to come.
Yeah, and it's just a matter of, like you just said, finding that tribe, finding that group of people who are like-minded and who are okay with getting out in the woods because not everybody wants to get out in the woods. And I want to use that as a little segue into, the safety portion of it, but one kind of taking a step back away from the safety portion is meeting people at a trailhead. Because I think you've made this comment before, and I've seen it with other people. You get to the trailhead, or you're afraid to go to the trailhead. Does that resonate?
Yes.
And
I
and I think I'm really curious about your thoughts on it. Like, what do you think it is for what do you think it takes women to step out of that comfort zone a little bit and get to that trailhead?
And I think there's two things there. I think some people are afraid just out of fear of going into the woods and meeting strangers. And then
Yes.
there's this other thing where there's some women who are so introverted, and we have a lot of introverts in our group, that I have heard women say that they sat in their car and they cried
Right.
before they got out to meet the people. And so I think both of those are real. And I think Houston Women Hiking, one of the things we try to do, and it's very difficult because it is such a big group, that, when people want to get in, they can only be women. And if people don't put their faces on their posts or on their little icon, I contact them and I say, we need to have a face. It's a security reason. If you say that you're going to go, and you don't go, if there's an event and you say, I'm going, and then you don't go, you need to go back to the event and press not going. Because if a hike leader gets to a trailhead and there's 15 people supposed to be there and then there's nobody there, they have this responsibility of what do I do? And if I go in, am I going to be safe? Okay, going in by myself. Most hike leaders are because they know the trails and they feel confident about it. So we try to do as much as we can. And I think as far as women getting out into the woods, there is safety in numbers. So if you're going with more than one person, you're going to be much more safe than going in by yourself. And it's interesting because if somebody will post something, and I've done this on a couple occasions, they'll post an event and I'll go, nah, that I don't know this person.
Right.
And,
Yeah.
I get a funny feeling about it. Or people will contact me and say, I'm not sure about this. What do you think? And I can say either whether I know them or not, or whether I've hiked with them or that type of thing. So there's a lot of checks and balances. And the interesting thing is, even with a group of 19,000 women, there are so many women who are invested in Houston Women Hiking. They are the eyes of the owl.
Hmm.
They are watching out. They're being careful. They're sending me stuff saying, I don't think this belongs. And I appreciate that because it's a lot to run a group, it's a lot to admin a group this big.
I like what you said in regards to, women being afraid to at the trailhead or coming to the trailhead because you're right, it is, probably two or even three things going on there. One, they're stepping out of their comfort zone and they want to be on the trail, but they don't want to be by themselves necessarily. And they're introverted, right? They like being alone, but then now you're meeting people. So there's a
And
lot
there's
going on there emotionally.
there's also these other things that are underneath. Women aren't supposed to go into the woods by themselves. They
Yeah.
have been
Yeah.
trained up with this. You don't go hiking. You don't go camping. Women don't go camping by themselves or with other women. It's a male thing. The other thing is culturally, depending upon the culture of the person growing up. I remember Katita said something, or she said, black women don't hike.
Right.
Now she's a hike leader.
Yeah.
So she came to this point where I could do this. And I call myself a path pusher because it's extremely addictive that once you are on the path, you want to continue. It's like, give me more. What else can I
Right.
say?
That's a good. And it's so healing, from your own experience, the healing properties of nature, the whole forest bathing aspect, and it has calming effects and it lowers our blood pressure. And I think that's part of the addictiveness of it. Like, yes, you can do the physical exertion part of it and have the fitness benefits, but there's also the mental health benefits and the other physical benefits of being out in the woods and out in nature and just having the properties of the forest calm you. I don't know if you want to get into details about this, but I know you have some health issues. And so hiking and walking in nature has really helped you with your health. You want to
Yes.
touch on?
And that I started the group, and within a year of starting the group, I was diagnosed with interstitial lung disease. And at that point, when I was diagnosed, I couldn't walk from the house to the backyard. I couldn't do anything. I was tethered to an oxygen machine 24/7, very, very ill, very, very weak. And I really thought my hiking days were over. And then somebody gave me a portable oxygen concentrator so that I could go into the woods and put it on my back. And I'm ever so thankful for that friend. They're really, really expensive. At that time, the doctor gave me 2 years to live.
Oh, wow.
And
That's
so
awful.
I know it was, and doctors should never do that. They should just, a doctor should be, I don't know, bad things should happen to a doctor. We should hang them from their toenails if they say that someone's going to die. So I was bound and determined, and I had already started changing my lifestyle because I started the Houston Women Hiking and I was hiking and I changed my diet and I was meditating and mindfulness and all these things that I was doing with myself for about 6 months prior to the diagnosis. And I am convinced that had I not done that 6 months of stuff, I would not be alive today.
Wow.
So then when it came time to get back to the woods, all the women were so supportive and we'll take it at whatever, and they still are, whatever pace you need to. Because I'll tell you, when I got the oxygen on and I'm doing stuff, I'm huffing and puffing. And I remember Katina said in her interview, she said, I was behind you and I was going, oh my God, if she could do this with oxygen, then I should be able to do it. And just hearing her words gave me that encouragement to go. And I told her in her interview, the next week I did the same hike. And because she was not behind me saying that, it felt like a harder hike. So I
Oh,
think,
interesting. Yeah.
yeah, I
Mindset.
think, yeah, I think
Hmm.
that supportive energy from the whole group gives us that ability to do more than we think that we could do. And I'm convinced that Houston Women Hiking has saved my life. And so it's true because I wouldn't be here today had I not gone back on the trail and had the support of those women.
That's so wonderful. I love that. So, did you ever imagine that the group would get that big? Like when you started the group, what were your thoughts? I just want someone to hike with.
I just wanted to, I'll never forget the day Donna and I were on the trail. And by this time, people were going, I want to hike with my dog. I don't want to hike with dogs. I want to do this. I don't want to do this. And I was like, oh my God, why have I created this group? This is
Right.
insane. Donna was in the back trails with me and she said, I love doing this. I want to lead hikes. And it was like, ba-boom. I
Oh, light
don't
bulb.
have to lead all the hikes. Women will come along and they will lead the hikes. And if women want to hike with their dogs, they can create a dog hike. If they want to hike with their children, they can create a hike with children. I love that Houston Women Hiking meets everybody right where they are in their life. Because I remember a time being a new mom, and there would be no way I could get on the trail unless I had a toddler. But do I want to hike with toddlers? Not all the time. But there are that support then of other women who have children that like to get outdoors becomes a really great, strong community for that individual in the group. I
Yes.
think that's where the camaraderie and the tight bonds come from. The same thing with, I don't want to go to Kilimanjaro. I could not go to Kilimanjaro because of my
Not everybody wants to do it.
I have a foundry in Colorado and I have a hard time going to Colorado. Not everybody wants that type of hike. It's kind of hike your own hike. If it's a walk around the block, that's a hike for you. Then that's a hike.
Absolutely.
It
Yeah.
doesn't have to be, I got poles and I'm going up a mountain. And that's not what the group is about. It's meeting women where they are and giving them what they need.
Yes.
Answered the original question because I have a 10.
Absolutely. I really love all the subgroups, like you said. If someone wants to hike with dogs, right, you post saying that this hike, dogs are allowed. If someone wants to hike with kids, someone can post and say, hey, let's go on a hike. It's going to be a family friendly, kid friendly, go at your own pace type hike. And we're doing 1 or 2 miles, whatever it is. We're going to go explore the woods. Come with me and do it. And I think that's great. And then, I'm of the age where, I don't necessarily want to hike with kids and dogs. I prefer to stick with all women. And it can be a variety of different paces. It depends on how I'm feeling or what I'm looking for on that particular day or week. Sometimes I like to do a photography hike. And we just get out and go and take some pictures, and it's meandering. And if you want to sit and look at the butterflies for a couple of minutes, that's okay, right?
And it's more than just hiking. There's kayaking, there's
Yes, yes.
paddleboarding, there's camping. And I love it. One camping trip, a woman, it was the all women's, which is really huge. It's over like 80 people that come to this all women's camping trip.
Yeah, I want to hear more about that.
And it's so intense because like everybody has a little yard sign in front of their campsite. So I always call it like it's a toss between a pajama party, cabaret, and trick or treat because you could just
Yeah.
go site to site to site and meet all the women, and it's so fascinating. But one year, a woman came to me and she said, I'd like to go, but I really want to be alone. But I want to
Mm,
be with everybody, but I really want to be alone. And I so identify with this. I mean, I
yes.
really, if you
Hmm.
ever notice, whenever I have an event, a large event like this, I will have potluck at my thing, and I will try to schedule something somewhere else, ask someone else to do a hike at 7 o'clock or 7:30, so that everybody leaves. And you'll also notice at those,
And
I get further and further and further away from the crowd because I just can't be for health reasons. And I think I've just, that's who I am as a introvert, believe it or not. And so this woman said, I want to be alone, but I really want to be with everybody. And I said, okay. And I gave her a site. It was like way far away. And she said, well, when I wanted to be alone, I didn't want to be that alone.
cute.
And that same person is the person who developed the Camping Alone Together.
Oh, okay.
And, and so that is a thing where someone will post, we're going to this campsite. If you want to go, and there's a lot of women who go, well, I don't know if I could camp alone. Could I camp alone? And so you've got your own site and you can stay on your own site, but you know that there's somebody over at site 17 and 22 that is also part of the group. So if you want to be with them or you
Gotcha.
need something, you can. And
That's a
I've heard
brilliant idea.
it's a
Hmm.
brilliant idea. And I've heard them do this also on the Lone Star Trail. You're going to hike this alone, but I'm 20 minutes behind you, or I'm
Right.
30 minutes behind you. So that even when you're camping at night alone, there's someone 30 minutes behind you that is going to got your back. And if you need them, they're there. And so that gives the women on what they need to get out and feel safe in doing so. And I'll tell you, there was a lecture that my daughter's an author also, and my granddaughter has got a book coming out, See You in the Woods, Fun Activities for Kids. And she's 12 years old. And she just loves to go to these book fairs and things, and she'll bring her bones and her snake skin. She'll lay it all out. And we are becoming us three generations of women kind of advocates for the Texas State Parks. So
That's
we'll
awesome.
we'll hand out the Texas State Park journals, etc., and we'll talk about how you can go camping. And did you know we have so many parks? We have so many parks in
We
Texas.
do.
And
Amazing. Yes.
so there was this guy, and he had a little girl on his hip, and another one here, and about a 6-year-old here. And he walked up to our table, and Christina looked at him and gave him a Texas State Park guide and said, "You should take your little girls camping." And he just went, you could see his head go, boom.
Oh,
I could
good.
take little girls camping.
Yes,
So
you
it's not
can.
just the big girls. Sometimes we need permission to be able to get out there with our families. Doesn't matter how little they are. Of course, I don't like to
Hmm.
be around somebody that has a newborn baby that's screaming, but it, there are people that'll camp with that, and that's okay too. So
Absolutely. It is. I remember I've been to a couple of the Houston Women's Hiking Group campouts, and they are a lot of fun. One of the things that I remember is the coffee bar, which is amazing. And one of the ladies puts together a coffee bar, and then people bring different treats for breakfast, and that's just a fantastic thing to have. And the other thing was, I don't know if you do it every year or maybe every fall, is it's the chili cook-off. Do you do that all the
Robin
Oh, was it?
decided to do that, and she just asked everybody to cook chili. And I made chili, vegan chili, just because I thought no one else will have vegan chili. I think there were three other vegan chilies. There
Yeah.
was so much,
There was a lot of chili.
it's a
Yeah.
lot of chili.
Yeah.
When you're camping, you really don't have places to put stuff that's left over. So you hope everybody eats what's there. But
Yeah.
yeah, no, we've never done that. But we do also have an all family. And
Oh
the
yeah.
the
Yeah,
purpose
tell
for the all family, and we just do that once a year, is to get the families out. This gives parents and families permission to try it if they haven't tried it before, because you
me.
have the support. And the other thing, it also becomes like a family reunion. I've noticed my granddaughter's going, "Oh, is so and so going?" Because she wants to hang with her friends.
Oh,
And
nice. Yeah.
kids are interesting in the woods. And we kind of refer to them as feral children. They entertain themselves.
Yes.
And also, if you have a hammock, that's real great entertainment for a child. There are events that happen through that weekend. There may be yoga, somebody's making pot holders, somebody's doing a night hike. The group just fills in those. There was a tightrope walking once,
Oh, yes, I
and
think I remember.
it's amazing what people come up with and the inspiration behind these groups.
So if somebody wanted to, like, let's say someone is listening to this podcast and they're not a member of the Houston Women's Hiking Group, How would they find out about when the upcoming campouts are? Are they typically at certain times a year, or do you post them maybe a month or two in advance? How would people find out about that?
You have to join Houston Women Hiking. And the reason for
Yes,
that is because it's a closed
of
group.
course. Yeah.
And that makes it safer for our members. When you do join Houston Women Hiking, you have to answer all the questions.
Yes.
Also, you might be sure that you're not joining with a husband. If it's a joint account, we don't allow them. If you have a little icon in your thing instead of your face, we've been turning people down. I want to see someone's face. I don't want to see an icon. And I'm looking at that face to say, is this a real person? And what do they look like? And will they really be there? Are they the same person that's meeting me at the head of this trail?
Yes. How would people find out
Okay.
about when the campouts are? Through your group.
Do that.
Yeah.
Once you're a member, they're in the events. And
Okay.
the all family, everybody is responsible for their own campsite. And so we post it and then we say, okay, go get your sites, and everybody gets their sites, and some people share it. The women's camping trip, because it's so large, we are limited to where we can have it because we have to have a lot of campsites. And as a group, we are allowed to purchase campsites in advance, a group of campsites in advance before it is open to the public. So as soon as that deadline hits us, we are going and we are purchasing as many as we can. And then we open it up to the people that want to come. I think we probably buy about $2,000, $3,000 worth of campsites.
Wow. Yeah.
And then anything that's on the outskirts, people can purchase their own. A lot of times people will purchase Friday and Saturday from us, and then they'll add on, I
Mm.
go for an
Yeah.
entire week when I do this. I
Nice.
go for 4 days beforehand just because I want to unwind, and then a couple days after because it's exhausting putting this on.
Absolutely. It takes a lot of work leading up to it, I imagine. Like
Yes.
probably a good month of work leading up to it. And then you have the day of the event, and then you get the wind down afterwards, right?
And people ask me, do I go for a hike? And I just look at them and I go, no, I can't leave. I can't leave this campsite because there's so many people that come asking for questions or emergencies or whatever that I'm pretty
Yeah.
much there. So now what I've done is I always get a campsite next to the water where I can put in my kayak because it's real easy for me to take a 20-minute paddle as
Yes.
compared to going and on a hike somewhere.
Yes. Yeah.
So I could go for a paddle and come back, have somebody monitor or put a note on the door, be back at 2.
Absolutely. And I think as women we'll understand I'll be back at 2. And it's like, okay, so just taking a break or whatever she needs to do.
And at
Absolutely.
the camping trips, we have a Marks a Lot board that has all the events on it.
Yeah.
It's a very fluid. Someone may come and go, oh, well, there's a something open here and I could do this. We'll put it in. And there are overlapping. Someone may be doing a hike at 10 and someone may be doing yoga at 10. And that's okay because 80 women, there's a lot.
There, yeah. Yeah.
And everybody wants to do their own thing. But I also have to say that those people who come to the all women and those people who come to the all family, when they're at the all family, they feel this pull like, I want to go with the girls, but I need to be with my family, but I should be with the girls, but I want to be with my family. And so just be with your family. You can go with us and be with us at the all women's camping trip.
Yes, absolutely. 'Cause I think that is one of the things that we have to juggle is we want to be there for our family, but then we also want to do our own things. And that is
Right.
the constant struggle. I think it's really important for us to do as women who have families to be able to pull ourselves away and do our own thing. I think it's important for our mental health. I think it's important for our self-confidence, and it's important for our families to miss us when we're gone.
And you're a better mother because you've taken that time.
Absolutely. I agree.
You're a better
Absolutely.
human.
You're a better human. Yep.
Yeah.
We can't, what is that saying? You can't pour from an empty cup.
Right.
And I think participating in the hikes and participating in the campouts, you're filling your cup, right? You're taking time for yourself, you're filling your cup so that when you come back, you're in a better place. Yeah. Let's talk a little bit about your creative journeys. And so, first, let's talk about your memoir, your book, and then I want to talk about Grandma Gateway and your sculpting.
One Foot in Front of the Other, Art, Hiking, and Healing is the name of the book. It's available on Amazon. I really wanted to make it as an audiobook, and I started doing it last year. but with lung disease, it may not be conducive for me to continue on with it. So it would be a great milestone and would love to stand on top of interstitial lung disease with my microphone and going, I beat you and I did this. But I may be having someone else do my audiobook. It's on Kindle and in paperback. I also have other books that I've written, and I think that's probably where my life has changed the most is that I'm writing more. And I'm writing more mostly because my daughter developed a publishing company and it makes it easier for me and
Yeah.
not have to get an agent and an editor and whatever. So, and when you are always living, you always have that I may die. When someone gives you a time frame, you know
Mm.
you've got a progressive disease. There is this thing in your mind where, I might not live that long. For me, it was a lot of, I'm getting rid of this. I'm like, I don't want to be president of the Civic Club because I don't care. You know, I just want to, it's a very selfish experience to say, I'm just going to think about myself. And that's what I'm doing. So the art hiking and healing was the fact that I am a sculptor and a writer. My art would often take me to faraway places, not Kilimanjaro.
That's
But
all
I did
right.
go to South Africa. I did go to
Oh,
South Africa
nice.
and
Yeah.
loved it. But it would take me to because either my customers were there or my foundry was there. I had a foundry in Santa Fe for a while. Now I have a foundry in Colorado. I have another vendor in the Northwest. So sometimes going to the vendors, sometimes going to the clients would give me this opportunity to travel. And in doing so, I could explore other places and hike again alone and camp again alone. And so there was that time just before, actually, when I started Houston Women's Hiking, it was 4 weeks after filing for a divorce. So I had already been trying to find who I was. Like
Hmm.
in the book, I think I said, I had never been single my whole entire life.
Hmm.
I either went from my mother and father to a live-in boyfriend to a marriage. And even when I was divorced one other time before. I had my daughter with me. So I was a mom and I wasn't alone. I had this child and then went into the second marriage. And so I'd never lived alone. So I would watch women who were alone, like scientists would watch a wild animal on the Serengeti. It's like, oh, look, she's getting into her house and she's opening the door and it's dark inside and she enters the door. And it was just fascinated me. So for me to become that woman, it kind of documents the memoir documents going through that process of trying to find myself and gaining the self-esteem to do what I needed to do to make myself whole and to get past my own stuff, because we're sometimes our own worst enemies.
Absolutely. That negative self-talk that we can say, that monkey brain in our heads that
The
tells
subconscious.
us,
Yes, yes, yes. So the memoir walks through that. And it also walks through, like, I've sculpted Willie Nelson and B.B. King and Bill Monroe. So it walks through some of the fun stories. It also talks about a little bit. It's so funny because I gave my niece the book and she said, she's like, called me. She says, "Oh my gosh, I can't put this down." I said, "I'm so excited." And she said, "I can't believe you got in your childhood like right away. You were like, bang, bang, there." Because I said, "Did you know what I wrote about grandma? Did you know that about your grandmother?" And she said, "Well, I kind of knew, but I was expecting to be eased into it." And basically, I grew up in a home of an alcoholic and a drug addict, both my parents. And I left home at 15. So it kind of takes you on that journey and then into the art. And the art I live the most incredibly creative and fun life. And I'm so blessed to be able to do what I do. I'm a commissioned artist. So I always tell people I'm a whore for my art. I don't pay it unless I don't do it unless you pay me.
unless you get paid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not like a
Yeah.
studio artist that will go in and create it and then put it in a gallery. Mine is all commissioned. So, like the Grambling Tiger and the Prairie View Panther and Willie Nelson, B.B. King, Booker T. Washington, all these things. And in each one, there's always travel and outdoor adventures involved in it. So it's the art hiking and the healing from Houston Women Hiking and that I'm still going through today. So it
Yeah.
becomes more than a memoir. It's a memoir and a self-help book.
Very cool. Very cool.
Yeah.
So you do bronze statues, is that
I
right?
I do, and
Bronze?
I could see that look in your eyes. You're going to Grandma Gatewood, aren't you?
Yes.
Grandma Gatewood. Yes, a few years back, I found out a gentleman was going to do a sculpture of Grandma Gatewood. And if you don't know who she is, in 1954, at the age of 67, those two things just kind of blow my mind. 1954, left an
Uh-huh.
abusive husband
Yes.
and went for a walk in the woods, didn't come home because she was hiking the Appalachian Trail. And it took her nearly 5 months to do this trail. People don't realize how long it is. She failed once prior to it, but she did the AT and then she did it three more times after that.
Amazing.
It's
And she
amazing.
and no technical gear.
No,
Like,
she had a
think about
shower
that.
curtain.
Yeah. Like, she must have really needed to be in the woods. Like, as hikers, I think we understand the benefits of being out in nature. And she must have really needed, coming from her background, knowing what we know about her. And we
Right.
don't know everything that went on, but we know that she came from an abusive marriage, right? And so she must have really needed to be in the woods and take some time for herself.
And in doing so, because she was this grandma on the Appalachian Trail, she brought attention
Yes.
to herself and the AT. So a lot of people say that Grandma Gatewood saved the AT because it brought the attention to the AT to be able to manage it, maintain it, and everything else that needed to be done. Many people know her, and women love her because of what she went through and who she was and what she did. Hikers love her just because she did what she did. And so when I heard that a man in Ohio wanted to create a bronze for her gravesite in Ohio, I jumped on the chance and I said,
Good for you.
okay, let's do this. And he said, well, we don't have the money yet. I said, well, I'll help you raise the funds. I hate doing that. So I don't like that part. But we both knew, as well as the rest of the committee, that there were enough people that loved Grandma Gatewood to
Hmm.
donate to this project. But I told him, I said, I will do this one, I will do this project on one condition. And he said, what would that be? I said, that we can pour two in the addition and get one back to the AT so we can send Grandma Gatewood back to the AT.
Nice.
So raise money for her. So in the last 2 years, year and a half, we have been busy trying to find that second location. And we have the red tape, because there's this thing called the Appalachian Corridor that even if you own property on the Appalachian Corridor, nothing can be done with that. So even if it's your property. So to try to find something that's close enough to the AT that you will be able to see her if you're on the AT, but far enough away that you're not encroaching on the Appalachian Corridor or any of that stuff has been tricky. And the red tape of giving a sculpture to somebody, $100,000 sculpture to somebody, has been really, really hard. We went through four different places. I'm happy to announce we got a formal letter from our fifth location, and we have a place for her.
Oh, you can't announce it.
Because there was
Oh,
there was a second place, and we need to make sure they got their letter before we send out the press about it. So
gotcha.
yeah,
And then when
yeah,
it's there, I want to go visit.
yeah. We're all going to go visit. We're going to do an event in both places because she was also inspirational in creating trails in Ohio. And
Okay.
I didn't know that there's a whole trail that goes all the way around Ohio, but she's even got a trail named after her. So in both places, we'll do an event at Houston Women Hiking for anybody that wants to travel and go and experience both locations. But first,
So
we got to
cool.
raise the money.
If you're enjoying this episode of Just Hike, here's how you can help support the show. First, be sure to follow, download, and share this episode. It helps more adventurers like you and me discover the podcast and helps keep this journey going strong. And if you're gearing up for your next hike or just curious about my favorite outdoor gear, be sure to check out my Amazon affiliate page. I've listed all the items I actually use, from hiking shoes to trail snacks. You'll find them at justhike.com. Every purchase through the link helps support the podcast at no extra cost to you. Thanks again for being here with me on the trail. Let's go back to our show. Yes. So tell me about your fundraising efforts and how can people help out?
Thank you.
Yeah.
The original Grandma Gatewood site, which is the site for the movie, has given us the site for us to work with. We have all the information on that site, along with a blog where I'm documenting the information. There is also a GoFundMe site where you can donate. If somebody wanted to donate a larger amount, the producers of the Grandma Gatewood movie will be our umbrella. You can send a larger non-for-profit to this non-for-profit for tax deductions, and then we will get it. So we've got everything set up. We People don't realize how, if you don't have $100,000, if you don't, just send five, send 10, send whatever you can, and share the posts, share
Yes.
the information. If you know somebody that is really into the AT, let them know. Maybe you have a friend who is an editor at a magazine or a newspaper. Let them know. And we've gotten a lot of press on it, but I think now that we have the second location secured, we will get, because that's 14 states, 15 if you include Ohio. That's 15 states in the United States that will be involved with this Grandma Gatewood statue. So I'm sure we will be able to find the money, but donate today. Yes.
That's awesome. Now, Grandma Gatewood, there's a book on Grandma Gatewood, and then you also mentioned a movie. I don't think I've ever seen the movie. So is there a documentary?
And it's really, really good. And so I think it's called Trail Magic. I'd have to look that up. It's a really good documentary, and I think we're going to show it in my backyard one day,
That's great.
probably in the next 30 to 40 days, once we get past the all women camping trip, and we'll do it before Thanksgiving, I think.
Very fun. What has been the most rewarding part of watching your vision grow from one woman's idea to a thriving community?
I'm going to go back to something that I wrote in the book because sometimes we know how we work, but we don't know what pushes us in a direction. My parents were alcoholics and drug addicts. I became involved in a group called Alateen, which really gave me
Hmm.
tools at a time that I really needed to be able to know that the alcoholism wasn't my fault and how to live with this. But a gentleman came up to me and he said, "Would you speak?" And I went, "What? I don't know what you mean." He says, "You just get up and you tell your story." And I went, "I could do that." And he said, "Just tell how you got through it." And I went, "Okay." So I went to a conference and I was put in front of this group and felt very naked. And I spoke to the group. And when I was done, this young girl, probably a little younger than I was, came up to me and she had tears in her eyes. And she said, "I know that if you can make it through it, I can do it." Those words have pushed me my entire life and everything that I can do. So if I share my story and somebody else can get something out of that that makes a difference, that's better than sculpting. That's better than writing. That's what drives me. And so I see it time and time again. And I'm going to try not to cry because women tell me all the time, "Oh my gosh, before I found this group, I was beside myself or whatever. I found my best friend." And
Absolutely.
I
Yes.
mentioned it in the book. Trail magic
Hmm.
is something that happens. There's two types. You're walking along a trail and you don't have any water and you've been on the trail for 3 days and you wonder what you're going to do. I've run out of water for whatever reason. And all of a sudden there's a thing of water. That's trail magic. There's also trail magic of where you get to a place and you look out and your soul is refreshed because of what you're seeing, and you know that you can go another 5 miles because of what you experience. So in the hiking groups and in, especially this came from the AT, that's what trail magic is. And I think that's what this group offers is there's so many incidences of trail magic. I mentioned another one in the book, which is so funny because it was COVID and it was all women camping trip. And someone said, "I want to go, but I need a ride." And I thought, COVID, nobody rode with anybody during COVID.
Right. Yeah.
It's just not what you did.
Hmm.
And then two girls said, "Well, you could ride with us. We live in your area. We'll drive you." So they rode together, and the girls in the back. Okay,
I think I lost you for a minute here. Let's
a
see
good
if
friend of
it.
mine was going to come camping and she was going to be in a shelter and she invited her friends. And then her friend came and said, "I'm in a shelter on the other side and I don't really know anybody." I said, "Well, we'll just clean out my clam. You can sleep in there." So so she slept in there. And meanwhile, this group came, these three women. And while she's riding in the back of the seat, she goes, "Wow, this is all kosher food." And they said, "Oh, yeah, we keep kosher." And the girl goes, "So do I."
Oh, how funny.
Now, I don't know what like the odds are of that. But so this campmate that they got kept kosher and they were right across the way from us. And then my friend's friend comes and she says to me, I didn't bring anything but a cot. I don't have food. I don't have anything. And I just came from a bar mitzvah. You,
Right?
I said,
Yeah,
you're sleeping in here. We set up a little clam fort. And he said, come with me. And we walked her across the way and introduced them to the people that kept kosher. Now,
that's so
again,
funny.
I don't know what the odds are of all that happening, but it happens over and over and over again in this group. People find exactly what they need when they need it. And I don't know how you, I don't, as an admin, I don't think you can admin that. I do think that you can be open enough to try to keep everything friendly and try to diffuse things when they happen, but I
Mhm.
don't know how you can admin that. So I always say, I am a spiritual person, and I always say, if there's anything that I've done that I feel God really blessed, and it was Houston Women Hiking, put his hand on it and said, this will work. And I went, well, okay. What do I do? Take a walk in the woods. I could do that,
I
God.
can do that.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
That's so beautiful. What advice would you give someone who wants to start a community project that's rooted in passion and purpose? So let's say, they want to create, I don't know, whatever they want to create. I think my answer to that question would be just go for it.
I would say go for it. I would say also make sure it is a passion and it's not
Yes.
something you feel like you have to do or should do, because the passion will drive you a lot longer than what you should or could do or might be expected of you. It really does need to be a passion. And I think that get out of the way, because a lot of
Hmm.
times, like when that woman said, I want to hike with my dog, my first inclination, I don't want to, we don't do that here. If I would have said
Hmm.
that, I would have shut her out and that would never have been an option. So when people suggest things, I try to get out of the way and let that happen. Like, because it is so organic and you can get in the way of those blessings and that trail magic without even knowing. You could have great intentions. You just want to keep the group going, but you can get in the way of that.
I think that's great advice. It makes me think of what's that book called? Like, what's your why? It's got the big red letters. Simon Sink, I think is his name, Simon Sink. And it's like, what's your why? Like, what is your why? So whatever your project is, what is your why? Like, what is really your purpose for creating this group, right? Is it something that's self-serving or is it going something deeper at a larger level? Like for me, for example, I want to motivate and encourage as many people to get outside and enjoy nature as they can. But my why, specifically my why, is because I don't want to lose the trails. It's actually very selfish. I want hiking trails to be on. I want those to continue. And same with the Lone Star hiking trail, which is very close to me. It's within a 30-minute drive of my house. And so it's very easy for me to get to the Lone Star hiking trail. That trail is really in danger because of growing development. And I want to encourage as many people as I can to get out there and enjoy that trail because the more people we have on those trails, the more people who love the nature, the more likely that we're going to protect it. That's my why. So I love what you said of, kind of get out of the way and let people enjoy it however they want to enjoy it, like especially with your group. If they want to bring their dog, create a special group for that kind of thing. Does that make sense?
Well, and again, you can hike with your dog in our group. You just got to
Abs-
do, a dog-friendly hike, or you can
yeah.
even hike with your husband, a spouse-friendly hike. It's very
Yes.
rare. We don't have very many. I don't know why. The women just don't want to get out there with their husbands. But
Or
it's
they go
also,
out on their own with their
yeah,
husbands, not necessarily with the group. Yeah.
yes, that is true. And I also have found that I'm always amazed when we're doing something in the group and someone says, and my husband, and I just look at him and I go, you're married? I just don't expect that, because I think it's great that there are husbands out there that realize that this is a part of who this person is.
Hmm.
They need to do this, whether it's I need to go to the El Camino and walk for a month. They let them do the El Camino and walk for a month. Whatever it is, they encourage their wives to do that because they realize it makes them, again, better mothers, better wives, whatever.
Yes. I think a lot of it, like speaking of physical abilities, husbands and wives, I find when we reach the age of, let's say, over 45, over 50, over 55, whatever, the women are in better physical condition and we're ready for adventure. Whereas I find, from my experience, a lot of the men, their knees are hurting, their backs are hurting, their whatever, and they're just not physically able to do the hikes and the walks that the women want to do. And so you've created this community where women can get outside, they can be with somebody, they're not alone, but they're with a group, it's a safe group, and they're able to go and do the miles that they want to do.
Going back to your thought about you caring so much about the trails and about the parks, etc. I think, and I could be wrong, and maybe it would be one of those things where they say if you buy a red car, now you notice all the red cars. But I think that women have this nurturing part of them that they do want to, and even it's called Mother Earth. We
Yes,
do want to care for the earth.
yes,
And so impressed and in awe of the amount of women, and I mentioned several of them in the memoir, that have done this and made a huge difference. It goes back to my sculpting thing. I go, why aren't people recognizing these women? And do you know of all the sculptures in the United States, only 8% are of real women?
wow.
So
Huh.
why aren't people recognizing these
We're the
women?
power in the background. Yeah,
I guess so. But
yeah,
we're making such a difference with Mother Earth. So I commend you on your journey and what you're doing. And I think it's nature for us, or naturally part of who we are, to want to care for Mother Earth. Yes.
yes. More trails, less concrete.
Please put permeable.
Right, yes.
Sorry.
Permeable would be good,
We're
especially
both
in the
we're
Houston area, right?
we're recording this from the Houston
You said
area,
yes.
and where it floods, and yeah, and
Yeah,
people are building so much stuff that, yeah.
I agree. So what's next? What do you envision? What's next for the Houston Women's Hiking Group? Any big adventures or goals? You mentioned a field trip to see Grandma Gatewood's sculpture and statue when it's completed. That would be awesome. When will it
Again,
be
I
done? Do you guys have a date? Like in place?
once, if all the money is there, it takes about a year to a year and a half to do a life-size sculpture.
Okay.
Now, where we are with Grandma Gatewood now is I've already sculpted maquette. I've been in contact with her great granddaughter and has approved it. Unfortunately, her great granddaughter just passed away,
Oh
and
no.
she was so like I would Marjorie, could you tell me what kind of stick she held? And she would give me a long story about the kind of walking stick she would have. And Marjorie, it says she hiked in Ked's shoes. Do we have any pictures? Because we could ask Keds if they want to donate to the project. And, and all of these things. And she was so willing. So Marjorie was really, really supportive. So we have the approval from the family and the committee. The sculpture was done. I have another sculpture, 3 pieces that were in the studio this past week. They needed to go to the next process, which was I work with fine art and digital technology. Because I have a small maquette, if I 3D scan that maquette, then I can clean it up in the computer and then I can enlarge it and send it off to a vendor. And then the vendor will they'll carve it out of urethane foam and send it back to me, which becomes my armature. I'm so excited that I had another woman I was working on, Mother Boo, who is an environmentalist and a minister, one of the first Episcopal ministers in Louisiana, female. And I was doing her, and I was able to tag the Grandma Gatewood scanning on her. And so we have her scanned. Now,
Oh, good.
the next step would be to have that CNC milled. Once it's CNC milled, then I have a life-size thing that I can work on. And there's a lot more attention to it because it's life size, it's real. The maquette made it real, but the life size thing. So when people come to my studio, we have regular readings and discussions at my studio about the book. When the girls come, they will see and they'll be able to pose with Grandma Gatewood. And the women from Houston Women Hiking have been involved. We had 2 women that wanted to pose as her. Some people got the original gear for me. And so all of this stuff that we've done, it's become a collaborative event with our ladies. So that's the next step with Grandma Gatewood is getting her, and we need probably five to $10,000 just to get her to that the next step of milling. And I can hardly wait. I'm like, I just want to I just want to get in there and start working.
That's so cool. And I love the collaboration of it. I strongly believe we will go further with collaboration than trying to do everything by ourselves.
Truly.
Yeah.
And as far as the group, I mean, I just was sitting back and watching what happens. Personally, it has been extremely rewarding for me to start doing hike, to start doing lectures with my girls, with my daughter and my granddaughter,
Oh,
three
yeah.
generations.
Yeah.
So I've really enjoyed that, and we're waiting on Issa's book, which means that Chris has to finish a couple illustrations. But it's just so fun to see each of them. Like Chris has a wonderful lecture on the part that women played in the Texas state parks, which is incredible. And Issa is just so in touch with the kids and how to get them involved. She does a segment up there, which was so cool about the mycelium network. It was a science
Oh.
fair. She did the mycelium network and how the trees talk to each other. And she's 12 years old. And the ranger there was going, what is it? She's tapping into the kids and bringing science into it in a way that I couldn't do. So that it's just been really exciting to be going on these speaking engagements with the girls.
That's so really inspiring, having the three generations going out and doing that and spreading the word. One day, someone's going to have to make a statue of all three of you.
No, just read the books. There, just read them.
Just
We've got
just
ourselves
read.
a
Finally, so what do you want to close with today? Any sort of inspiration or last words or anything else you want to share? I know people can find you through the Houston Women's Hiking Group. I know it's a private group, and so they would have to join and then connect with you there.
We have
Okay.
HoustonWomenHiking.com. Yeah,
Okay.
and there's a blog on there. And
Okay.
so we are always looking for blog writers if you want to write something for the blog. But
Gotcha.
you can reach us from there. My website is creativesculpture.com. I think the other thing that I'd mention is that I talked about the writing. I have another book coming out, Alice and the Hidden 150. Oh, we didn't mention Alice. It's probably the one I'm most known for. It's a
Oh, yeah, tell
monument.
me about Alice.
Yeah, it's a monumental sculpture of Alice in Wonderland's Mad Hatter Tea Party in a
Yes.
park in Evelyn's Park in Bel Air. And I hit 150 things when I was sculpting it. And my client
Yeah.
asked me afterwards, "Where's the list of 150 things?" And I said, "You didn't pay me to do that. You just paid me to do a sculpture." And I want to encourage literacy and curiosity. So this new book reveals some of those 150 things, but in riddle and rhyme, etc. And so I'm finishing up this book. I have another book called on 3D tech that's coming out that it's just a revision of my last book on it. But my granddaughter and I have been kind of collaborating on a book called Mother Bee and Me, and it's going to be a series. And in one of those series is going to be about the Arboretum. And so I'm really excited about it because I have found such magic. If you ever hike a place on a regular basis year round, you will be amazed at some of the things that you discover. How it's like coming home to a family, and you just look at the plants and the scenery, and it changes and it goes through these cycles, and you find the magic. For example, there's a tree that we walk by. We call it the curtsy tree just because it looks like it's curtsying. And every time we go by it, we all are on our hike, all the ladies start to curtsy to it. And so I wanted to find all these magical places that were in the Arboretum and write a Gamma Bee and Me book. People ask me, is Gamma Bee you? And kind of, but not really. She's like the magical, weird lady that I would really love to be. Like she is so far out there. So I'm really excited about that series as well. And my other publisher will kill me if I don't get 3D tech book revised before I start on something new. Anyway, yeah, I wanted to share about those because it's really exciting. And it's fun because when you have when my granddaughter and I, it's kind of, what do they call that, riff? We kind of feed off of each other. Like one day I was turning around and I looked and I went, "Oh my gosh." And she said, "What are you looking at?" And I said, "My butt is gone." I don't know I lost my butt. I think I might have lost it like in the 40s or the 50s when I was 40 or 50 years old. But hey, it's gone. And she says, Gammy, you can't just lose your butt. I said, well, it happened, and I don't know where I lost it. And then I looked at her and said, maybe I lost it in the woods. It went on, and this story just keeps going. So there's a lot of those crazy stories in there about our experiences and the magic. And I'm always trying to find the magic in the woods because it's there. I'll meet a little kid on the trail and I'll go, did you see? The magic's that way. Watch out
So
this
funny.
way.
Who is that crazy lady? We'll
Yeah.
just call her Grandma B. And I do understand what you're saying about how the trail changes. If you go to a trail regularly, so for example, on the Lone Star Hiking Trail, even just trailhead number 6, and it's a point 0.6 of a mile to the lake for a lake view, but in that point 0.6 of a mile, at different times a year, that trail just looks completely different. The foliage changes, right?
Hmm.
During the winter, it's more sparse. In the spring, it starts to grow, and then you start to see the flowers, and then you start to see the beauty berries starting to bud. And then it just changes every time I go out there. So it is magical, definitely.
I think somewhere along the line you had mentioned a question about the safety. And I think
Yeah.
the other thing about safety is that the knowing the trail, the women who say, like Donna said, I want to do this trail, she became familiar with the trail.
Yes.
And then we have regular conversations, and you've been in some of those where a Zoom where women will talk about maybe wanting to become a hike leader and what do you need to know. And there's not just a hike leaders, there's a person we call a sweep that's in the back. And their job's really important because if we lose anybody, they're going to be the person that finds out we lost somebody.
Well,
Excuse me.
hopefully we don't lose anybody. We don't want to lose anybody.
No, not that you lose them, but they get like it's so easy if you're on a trail that goes left and then right and then left and then right. And if it's a lot
Yes.
of people, that person may not know whether to go left or right. And that sweep needs to know which direction the trail leader is going to lead in. I have been on hikes where something has happened to the person in the back. The sweep is going to see this person's really lagging behind. Maybe they can't do this hike. And that's another thing for people to know that are going to do a hike. We ask when people put an event in there, we ask how difficult it is, how far it is, so that you know whether you can do that hike. These are the type of things that hike leaders need to know so that they can lead you on this hike safely. And to know the hike to make sure that you can do it. I always thought it with Jeannie, do you remember when Jeannie would post during COVID? Airline flights to Colorado are only $40. Anybody want to go to Colorado for the day and hike? I mean,
I've done one of those trips with her. Yeah.
that was crazy insane. I told
Yeah.
her, I said, Jeannie, how did you know that everybody could do that hike?
You have to
Because
vet your people.
you really do. I could never do that. Of course,
Yeah,
I'm
it's
on
not for
oxygen.
everybody. It's not
No,
for everybody. Yeah.
I'm on oxygen. I couldn't do it. So
Yeah.
I also asked her, I said, how did you pack your hiking poles? She said, we didn't need hiking poles. And I went, no, you need hiking poles. So there are those type of things as well as far as safety goes. And to know that your hike leader and your sweep have your back and we're there for you.
Yes. I think that's very good. Very good advice. I could do a whole, probably completely separate podcast on how to lead a hike, what's the importance of the lead, what's importance of the sweep, how to monitor on a hike, making sure everybody is where they need to be on that hike. It is, yeah, you make a very good point. So when you have a hike leader who's posting a hike for the group, you want those very clear instructions. It's going to be X number of miles. It's on dirt, it's on pavement. We're meeting at this trailhead. You have to designate who your sweep is, and then the sweep needs to know what the route is, where they're going. There's so many factors
There is
in
so
leading a
much
hike
there.
for,
Other
right?
people.
Like when you
Mhm.
get big groups out there, like let's say 20, 30 people show
That's
up for a
hard.
hike, you want to make sure that the leader is aware that not everybody is at the same fitness level as what they are. Yeah.
And
And that's challenging. Yeah.
to be perfectly honest, that's why I like to lead hikes.
Yeah.
I'm leading a hike. I can go at my own pace.
Yes. You're the leader. You've made the decision. This is the hike. So, with that being said, how does, like, I know what I tell people when they're signing up for a hike or looking for a hike, kind of a general rule of thumb of what I go by is, if you typically get in, let's say, 5,000 steps a day, let's say, for example, you probably don't want to jump on a 10-mile hike. You probably want to start with maybe a 3 to 4 mile hike. That's kind of a rule of thumb that I lose. If you're typically getting in, let's say, 10,000 steps a day, then you could easily jump into a 5 to 7 mile hike. If you're comfortable getting in, let's say 15, 20,000 steps in a day and you feel okay, then yeah, then you should be able to do, let's say, a 10-mile hike, right? That's kind of my
Right.
thought process there. But then you start getting into terrain, you start getting into routes, you start getting into weather, you start getting into gear, all sorts of factors. So yeah, yeah, lots of
And
stuff going on.
when we do the mindfulness hikes on Monday, which are just incredible for me, we've had a lot of women that have come on there. I don't have to have oxygen with that because we go so slow. I mean, we do qigong in the
Yeah.
beginning, we hike to the pond, we have a 10-minute, 15-minute meditation, and then we hike out or walk
Hmm.
out very slow because we're trying to be mindful. We're trying to not just get to this destination. We're trying to look at the little critter on here. Look at this mushroom and all those things that you get to look at like you were a kid, really.
Yes. Yeah.
So I've had women that have come through that mindfulness hike, and one woman in particular came, and then what she would do is because there's so many seats in the arboretum, every time she'd get to a seat, she'd sit down and then she'd stand up and then she'd sit down and she'd stand up and she'd move on. And she told me because I had those hikes, because I did that, I could go to China and travel and I could go, and this woman goes everywhere and she just does all of these things because that's the thing about hiking on a regular basis.
Yes.
You may start slow, but
Mhm.
you gain strength and speed. And before you know it,
You're traveling all over the world.
I
That's
love it.
right.
I love
It's so empowering and it's so wonderful for women, I think, especially to be able to get outside and enjoy these trails that we have and just having that space to be mindful, to get kind of some peace and some calm going on so that we can, do the things and be better at the things that we want to do. I
right.
know I've personally gained a lot from being outside in nature and thank you so much for creating the Houston Women's Hiking Group. I've met a lot of women through that group and we continue. Myself and one of the ladies went to Eagle Rock Loop on the weekend and we had a wonderful hike on that loop and I met her through the Houston Women's Hiking Group. So
Your
yeah,
best friends. You'll meet your best friends on the
you
group.
can if you're
I
looking
know,
for a
I'm
best
telling you,
friend.
it
Yeah,
happens.
yeah,
It
sure
really
can.
does.
Very good. All right. Thank you so much. I appreciate you taking the time. Make sure send me any links
Okay.
and for show notes, and we will include all that contact information in there.
Vikings is on Instagram. So
Instagram also. Up with everything.
I don't know. That's what people, that's the, if you read the beginning of my book, my daughter said people ask me all the time how how she does it. And she says, and though I've been her sidekick for all these years, I don't have it. Oh.
Time blocking, right? Here and there. Here. Yeah.
Well, it's simple. Like writing the Alice in the Hidden 150. I told her, I said, okay, I'm done with this one. I got to start another one. And I said that at my granddaughter's swim because in the summer, when my granddaughter was having me come to her swim things where you swim for 3 minutes and then you sit for 2 hours and you
Yes.
swim for 3 minutes, I was writing the book and editing.
Good.
And
Yeah.
so I told her, I said, I have nothing else to edit. I have to start another book or I can't come to.
Swim.
So it
That's
is
your work
that.
time. That's perfect. Yes.
It is that.
Yeah.
She said that she had ADHD and we know where we got it from. And she looked at me and I went, you think I have ADHD? And everybody in the room.
You just like to multitask. You like to jump from one project to another, and that's okay.
No,
That's
when I
okay.
say I have two muses, I have a sculpting muse and I have a writing muse. And I play them against each other. So when I'm
Wow.
sculpting, the writing muse will go, hey, babe, come on over here. You know you want to be with me.
Ah, so funny.
And I just play them one against the other. Well, I thank you so much for having me. And I'm so glad you're part of the group because you've added so much to the group and your commitment to making it an incredible group that helps women. It's not me, it's all the people like you that do it. I'm just the admin. I just
You're
press the
the
buttons.
admin. You started, you're the creator, and you're the one who helps keep the peace. Keep the peace in the group.
I try.
Yes. Yeah. When I'm researching different things, I will go to the Houston Women's Hiking Group and say, hey, you know what? Planning a trip here, or I'll just go to the search bar and I'll say, has anyone ever mentioned something about, let's say, kayaking, right? And then I'll go through the kayaking posts and it's like, oh, okay, there's a good location, there's a good location. And then when I'm planning things, it's like, okay, I know of a couple of good places we can go. Otherwise, if you do general internet searches, you don't
Right.
get that very special information as to, where do I put in my canoe or where's the best trailhead.
I took a trip to my hometown, and for some reason in my hometown, I had 2 nights where no family could take me in. I was trying to find a place to stay, and I thought, well, I'll just make this into a camping trip. I'll go hang out at Letchworth State Park or some other park. I found the Western New York hiking group, and I joined the Western New York hiking group. I said, this is my situation. I want to go and I want to stay someplace. Does anybody have, suggestions? And the amount and types of suggestions that I would never have found on a search
Exactly.
were absolutely incredible. And then when I would say, well, okay, but this, you said this trail, but it looks okay, but I need a bathroom when I come out. Is there a bathroom there, or is this like a real trail and there's nothing there for a while? And those type of questions you couldn't get asked on any other forum
I agree. Yeah.
really it made a difference. And to the point where I posted about it in our Houston Women Hiking group, and somebody was in Western New York from our group at the time and said, I want to go to that trail.
That's so great.
They were in Rochester and I was in Buffalo, and we met halfway and went hiking.
That's really cool. I like that a lot. Well, thank
So
you so much, Brigitte. I appreciate you coming on and chatting with me today, and we should do it more often.
thank you.